It's July. So, what time is it? Time to keep on reading. Am I just going to stop because I finished Olympic Games Readathon? Nah. Pedal to the metal. So, hi, I'm Pete. This is the Ponderings of Pete. Obviously, because you clicked on the video. And what am I going to be reading in July? Let's find out. So, the Olympic Games Readathon is over. What am I going to read in July? Am I going to put out a May and June wrap-up? The answer is yes to that. That's coming. Check it out. I might have a link here, but if I don't have a link here, it's forthcoming. If this is 3 years in the future and I still don't have a link there because I forgot, this is July 2021. What are you doing in your life, man? Probably shouldn't say that, but it's fine. Let's just talk about what I'm going to read in July. First up, Stones of Light. I read Voice of War, the first one, in June. Really liked it. I'm going to have a review out for that. Might be out now, might not be. We'll see which comes out first. I definitely have filmed it. So, Stones of Light, second book, Threadlight series. Zach Argyle. I'm really excited. I like the characters in the first one. There was some crazy ending to Voice of War that I'm really interested in figuring out what happens. So I'm definitely picking this up in July. Second, a fun book that a friend of mine found for me, or recommended to me, turned me on to, called The Utterly Uninteresting and Unadventurous Tales of Fred, the Vampire Accountant. This is a satire, obviously. Hopefully, obviously. And I'm really excited for it. Because guess what? I'm an accountant. So, of course, I'm going to be excited for a book about accountants. That's a satire. This was recommended to me by Andrew at Andrew's Wizardly Reads. Check him out. He's great. And I'm really excited for this because it's exactly what it sounds like. Next up, the book I'm reading first because of reasons. Because I really want to read it first. Because I would want to read it the most first, probably. Long Price Quartet! Book 2. This is the bind-up. I'll be reading Betrayal in Winter next. Alan at the Library of Alexandria has been spreading the news and just pushing Long Price Quartet down everybody's throats. And none of us are mad at him because it's a really good book. It's a really good series. I read Shadow in Summer last month, and I really, really liked it. It is so different because it is political economics fantasy, which is really cool because it's not your traditional action-packed, crazy fantasy. There isn't much actual, swords and aggression in it. It's very politically based, and I think the pacing is a lot different from what people are used to, but things definitely happen. It's not like you have a chapter of Game of Thrones with Cersei where nothing happens and she's just maneuvering. The maneuvering means something here. I'm sorry for all you Game of Thrones fans that like Cersei's chapters, but I was in college and I really didn't like Cersei's chapters because everything else was action-packed. Read this. Read the Long Price Quartet. It's great. The magic system is beautiful. And I'm going to have a live show about it. I had a live show for Shadow in Summer, link above, and I'm going to have a live show sometime in July about this book, aka A Betrayal in Winter. Check it out. It's going to be fun. Next up, we have something that's left over from last month because I had an expansive TBR and I didn't expect to actually get to it. Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This was a patron buddy read with Michael Nip over on his server, and I didn't get to it. But I'm going to get to it now, and we're going to ignore that stupid sticker that Target puts on things. I would also like to ignore this fake sticker, but we're going to ignore the real sticker for now. So, same guy that wrote The Martian wrote this, sci-fi, amnesia. I can't think of any other buzzwords to tell you about this book because I really don't know what happens except a guy's on a mission and he has amnesia. And it's sci-fi and people think it's really good. Gonna read it this month. Next up, we have Dragon Mage. This is a big book, by the way. Look at this compared to Rhythm of War. Whew, 2 peas in a pod. Anyways, Dragon Mage by Emma Wong. Self-published. Doing this as part of the Self-Published In read along, or not read along, buddy read. This is the buddy read for the month. We're doing Dragon Mage. This came out earlier in January, I think, and I've heard good things about it. I don't know much about this book, except there's dragons and there's mages. I don't know the extent of how much there's dragons and there's mages in this book, but they both exist in this book. From the sounds of it, we have a chosen one from a fishing village who has a power that nobody's heard of, or people haven't heard of for a while. Sounds like a good fantasy book. I'm excited to read this. Check out my review of it when it comes out. Check out Self-Publish In. Support your self-published authors. Next up, I do not have the book for this, so I'm going to pop it up here for the next two. We have Dragons of Winter Night. This is part of a read-along with some friends of mine. We just read Dragons of Autumn Twilight. This is a Dragonlance book. For those of you who don't know, that's a D&D setting. It's really cool. It's kind of your really bread and butter fantasy, typical fantasy based on a Dungeons and Dragons setting. If you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, it has a similar pacing to that, to a Dungeons and Dragons session. It's not just one session, it's a lot of sessions, but it has a similar pacing to it. So it's different pacing from your end-all fantasy, but it feels very much like your standard bread and butter popcorn fantasy. I'm continuing to read it. It's fun. A lot of tropes. A lot of twists I see coming because they're really tropey, but I'm really enjoying it. And the last technical full book that I'm reading is part of a read-along that I've been waiting to do for a while. I'm doing with Gregory LaPerche, Billy Bonsai, and Christy Lewis at Dostoevsky in Space. And that is the Communist Manifesto. We're reading this because I'm interested. I'm simply curious about actually reading the source material. I am not a communist, but I'm interested in reading it because I like seeing different perspectives. I like seeing the different sides of things. So we're reading this, and we're going to have a live show about it in August. Check out the Literary Discourse Literary Discourse Discord below. I have a link below, run by Una and Crypto from the Codex Cantina. Check them out. They're hilarious, and they are very thoughtful in a lot of things they say. They review a lot of classics, nonfiction, some other things. What else? The very last thing that I'm going to be touching is going to be Rhythm of War. My plan is to get through part 2 of Rhythm of War this month. This is my reread of Rhythm of War. I originally read it in 3 days, and I want to reread it and do some reviews on it, or do some talks on it specifically. I will be filming part 2 sometime this month, hopefully. Check out my part 1 spoiler talk up above. That's all. No Malazan this month. I'm taking a little bit of a break just because I know sometimes Malazan after a readathon ain't a good idea based on previous experience. If you want to buy any of these books, you want to read any of these books with me, let me know. By the way, Betrayal in Winter, we're doing the readathon over on Shelf Space. Not Shelf Published, Shelf Space, the sister server. Check that out. Betrayal in Winter. We're doing readathons of all of the Long Price Quartet, month by month, and we're doing live shows for all of them. Check that out. Looking forward to seeing everybody. Hit me up in whatever Discord. Let's talk. Talk some books. Buy some books. Have a great rest of your day.